Nerds for humanity. It's time for your Nerd Nightly News or Nightly Nerd News. I'm not sure what we should call this series, but this is the second time that we've done this. We did it last night, and I said, well, if it gets 15 likes, we'll do it again. So I think we got like 30 likes. So I'm going to try something different this time. Last night, we kind of jumped around and browsed together through the different news sources. This time, I'm basically going to do one article from each news source. And hopefully it'll feel a little bit more put together. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I didn't read each one in depth, but I did pick one article. So on New York Times, we have something around the Trump cases affecting the 2024 presidential election. On Wall Street Journal, we have an article about the rising prices of higher education. And then on Fox News, we have an article about Gaza hospitals being used as a hideout for Hamas. And then on CNN, we have an article about breakthroughs in nuclear fusion. So hopefully you guys find that interesting. I'm also experimenting with members only chat. I don't know. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe that's a bad idea. I figure I want to do more things to kind of show support and appreciation of our members. So, if you're a member, go ahead and use the chat. If you're not, maybe join. It's only like $1.99 a month. But let me know in the comments if you find that too onerous. I'm happy to put it back to a free for all chat. But yeah, I thought this would be a nice way to thank our members, and then I can pay more attention to the chat box because sometimes it gets a little busy with everybody. But let's just get right into it. And we're going to try and get this done in 15 minutes or less. So let's start with the first article on the New York Times. And it is about Donald J. Trump. And the headline is that Trump cases crashing into Supreme Court could reshape the 2024 election. The ruling that Trump is not eligible for the ballot in Colorado is the latest election-related issue likely to land before SCOTUS, which is a mostly Republican court. So if they rule against Trump, I don't think anybody can say that this was some sort of extreme left-wing Antifa court. This is more Republicans than Democrats, and there's a bunch that were appointed by Trump himself. So let's see, what does the article say? Basically, hey, they knew that there was going to be a collision course between all these cases and the election, but now it's turned into a bigger deal because the Supreme Court's going to get involved. The 9 justices have agreed to review the scope of an obstruction statute central to the indictment, and they could soon be entangled in both of his efforts to dismiss those charges by claiming executive immunity, which I think is the argument that you could, when you're president, you can do whatever you want. And then his efforts to get rid of a gag order so he can kind of go after the clerks and witnesses and stuff. And then the court could also be called upon to weigh in on a series of civil lawsuits for the Jan 6 insurrection that he encouraged and did not stop. And now, as if that's not enough, the justices are poised to decide a novel and momentous question: whether Trump should be disqualified from state ballots for engaging in an insurrection in violation of a Reconstruction-era constitutional amendment. The Supreme Court, with a conservative majority bolstered by 3 Trump appointees, in a particular spotlight that has not felt in 23 years since Bush v. Gore, As you may recall, that's when Bush won, thanks to the SCOTUS, and Gore, get this, conceded and said, you know what? This country has a tradition of a peaceful transfer of power. I wish George W. Bush all the best as a fellow American, blah, blah, blah. Didn't get that from the last guy who lost. But let's see. In this cycle, the Supreme Court is likely to play an even larger role than Bush v. Gore. It's not just an issue of whether or not Donald Trump engaged in insurrection, which would disqualify him, but also issues related to presidential immunity and criminal proceedings. All this arrives at a vulnerable moment for the court. So basically, like, buckle up. The New York Times is saying that the Supreme Court is going to have a lot to say that could impact the 2024 elections. And I'm kind of happy they are, because it did seem odd to me that a president can fan the flames, provide aid and comfort to a obstruction of a federal government proceeding involving the ratification of state certified election results, the most sacred thing a democracy can do, and just like make believe it never happened or somehow take credit for it like it was a good thing. So I think it's good that the Supreme Court, I mean, you know, say what you want about Republicans and MAGA people, but they've always talked about how crucial the Constitution is. So, you know, that's what the Supreme Court's going to have to rule on. Okay, so clearly that is a less than favorable treatment of Trump from the New York Times, but I don't know if the shoe fits. Let me know in the comments if you think they're being too hard on him. Next, let's go to another source of news, the Wall Street Journal. This one's interesting. It is about the cost of colleges, and the title is Swimming Pools and Granite Countertops, How College Dorms Got So Expensive. So this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I mean, I'm of the opinion that if higher education institutions keep increasing their costs above the rate of inflation, then maybe the federal government shouldn't subsidize students going to those colleges that aren't able to contain their costs. But let's see what the Wall Street Journal says. Arizona State University students will pay more than $9,600 to live in a shared bedroom. Damn. Like, if you exclude the summers, since I presume they're not there, that's $1,000 a month for a bedroom in Arizona. That seems pricey. A decade ago, a private developer took over Manzanita and gave it a $50 million refresh. New lounges, lobby, community kitchens. ASU students pay 80% more than what Sun Devils paid to live in the building 20 years ago, adjusted for inflation. Housing is one of the biggest drivers of rising college prices in the U.S., fueling the $1.6 trillion federal student loan crisis. Man. School administrators often boast of keeping tuition in check as a sign they're so sensitive to students' financial concerns, they rarely rein in the costs for living on campus. The Journal examined the price of residence halls going back 2 decades at 12 public universities. The least expensive bed increased by a median of 70%, even when you adjust for inflation. At Binghamton, the price of the cheapest option more than doubled, and now tops $10,000 for 2 semesters in a shared room. Oh my God. Housing options changed dramatically in that time. 12 new residence halls, significant upgrades, private bathrooms, hundreds more staff to help with student mental health. Okay. Minimum and maximum annual housing costs at select universities, adjusted for inflation. So Nebraska, let's see, what is the Okay. Okay, so this is the cost per year, I suppose. So in Nebraska, used to be around maybe 5,000, and now it's freaking 10,000. I mean, it looks like they've all doubled from 2022 to 2024, even when you adjust for inflation. Jesus, Oklahoma went from like 5K to now. Okay, people, how is it that to stay in a dorm in Oklahoma? Hey, Jeremy, good to see you. Welcome to the member-only chat. Now, I don't know much about Oklahoma, but I gotta believe $16,000 to stay in a shared bedroom for 9 months is a lot. Woo! See you, Boulder. The prime effect is damn near 20 grand? No. 20K just for a shared bedroom. I don't know about you guys, man, but that's ridiculous. So median rates increase at a slower pace in areas immediately around all 12 schools and the pace of the least expensive options. So basically, yeah, you should just live off campus. But I think more specifically, the Wall Street Journal is highlighting how the cost of higher education is like way freaking out of whack. And why should there be loan forgiveness for people who are staying in dorms that cost 10, 15 grand a year for a shared bedroom? Like, that just seems nutty. So that was a Wall Street Journal article. Now let's move on to the Fox News article about Gaza Hospital being used as a hiding place for Hamas. Okay, so Fox News. Gaza Strip Hospital used as a safe space for Hamas terrorists. Hospital chief admits. The head of Gaza Strip Hospital has admitted to Israeli forces that the terrorist organization used his hospital to advance its military operations since the hospital is a safe place. Netanyahu said in a video that anyone who thinks Israel will let up is detached from reality. Okay. National Park Service is removing red paint and the words Free Gaza that appeared near the Lincoln Memorial. Defense Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin made an unannounced visit to the USS Gerald Ford carrier in the Eastern Mediterranean. And then it looks like IDF releases new video of Hamas tunnels. Let's take a look at that. Okay. Where's the actual article? Okay. What happened? Where's the actual article about this hospital? How does Fox News work? What the hell? It's weird. Fox News has this like massive headline, and then I'm like, okay, well, give me more details about what you're saying. And it's a bunch of other articles about Israel and Hamas, but not the one that's associated with the headline. That is so weird. All right, well, let's pick a different Fox News thing. Okay, so that was the one we just saw, the Tunnel of Terror. Hulk Hogan is baptized, calling it the greatest day of his life. All right, well, I was hoping to get this article. but I don't really see anything more about the hospital thing. But we'll do one more Fox News things about the IDF. Okay, IDF reportedly near the end of its ground offensive in northern Gaza, and now it's moving to southern Gaza. Hamas was able to spread across Gaza from the heart of Gaza City. Said earlier, IDF is in another significant phase of the offensive. Wow, Fox News articles are like freaking 3 sentences long. They're more like long tweets. No offense to Fox News, but what is going on? Where are the actual articles? Okay, basically it's a lot of these little short things. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not, but at any rate, that's what we got from Fox News. Next tomorrow, if I do it again tomorrow, we'll try and find like a long form article on Fox News. And now let's go to CNN. Oh, we're totally over our 15-minute goal. Sorry, guys. CNN, this one looks interesting. Hopefully it's a little bit longer than the Fox News article. Scientists successfully replicate historic nuclear fusion breakthrough 3 times. So scientists in California shooting nearly 200 lasers at a cylinder holding a fuel capsule the size of a peppercorn have taken another step in the quest for fusion, which, if mastered, could provide the world with limitless clean power. Oh, wouldn't that be great? Lawrence Livermore National Ignition Facility in California managed in a world first to produce nuclear fusion reaction that released more energy than it used in a process called ignition. Now they have replicated ignition at least 3 times this year. This marks another step which could one day be an important solution for the global climate crisis, driven primarily by the burning of fossil fuels. For decades, scientists have attempted to harness fusion, recreating the power of the sun on Earth. After making their historic net energy gain last year, the next important step was to prove that it could be replicated. Brian Appleby said the ability to replicate demonstrates the robustness of the process. Exciting. It took 2 megajoules to power the reaction, which released 3.15 megajoules, enough to boil 10 kettles of water. But it was sufficient to make it a successful ignition and to prove that laser fusion can create energy. Still a long way to go. There's potential in fusion to revolutionize our world and change all the options that are in front of us. Wow, that would be amazing. In December, the DOE announced a $42 million investment in a program to bring together multiple institutions, including Lawrence Livermore, to establish hubs on advancing fusion. Harnessing fusion is one of the greatest scientific and technological challenges of the 21st century. We now have the confidence that it's not only possible, but probable that fusion can be a reality. Well, there you go. All right, so those were the 4 stories. In summary, New York Times, that was probably the most interesting, talking about how the Supreme Court, depending on what they say about whether a state can keep someone off the ballot because they violated the 14th Amendment, which said that you cannot participate or provide aid and comfort to an insurrection against the Constitution. Does that apply to Donald J. Trump? And here's my question for you. Do you think in Jan 6 would have happened? Like, do you think they would have broken into the Capitol and tried to hunt down Pelosi and Pence and basically disrupted official democratic proceedings in the most sacred, one of the most sacred moments when you have a peaceful transfer and ratification of electoral votes that are certified by states? Remember states' rights? Would that have happened if Trump had conceded? or if just kept his mouth shut and said, look, I'm not happy, but like, I'm going to respect the outcome? Or do you think they ransacked the Capitol and broke in because of his, stop the steal, save the country, you have to fight and take your country back, blah, 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 I'm going to be there with you, yada, yada? Or do you think all those people that broke in were Antifa and BLM disguised as Trumpers? Let me know in the comments. Okay, then we had the Wall Street Journal story about the ridiculous... I mean, this is the thing. Why are we forgiving student loans? We should focus on reducing the cost of higher education. And there's no way that you should be paying $1,000 a month or $1,500 a month for a shared room in like Oklahoma or Colorado. That just seems crazy. Then the third story was from Fox News, and that was a video of the IDF that the IDF shared, showing a tunnel, and then a headline saying that the head of the hospital admitted that Hamas was using it for shelter, but then we weren't able to find the actual article. It was just a big headline. And then CNN did one about nuclear fusion, which said that a few months ago, it was a big deal that you could produce more energy than you took to kind of shoot lasers at it. And now, but people were like, well, but can you replicate that? And now they've done it. So who knows, man? Wouldn't that be amazing to have like nearly unlimited clean energy? I know even Elon would like that, right? And hopefully many of his new friends in the MAGA land would be supportive. But yeah, that's it for me for today. I will hopefully do another one of these tomorrow and try and keep it on time. If this stream gets more than, let's see, I don't know, 25 likes, we'll do another one tomorrow. Okay. But before I stop, I want to thank the people who make this whole channel kind of kept it going, which is our channel members. I'm thinking, by the way, I think the member only chat's a little too restrictive, but let me know in the comments what you think. But because I think Jeremy's the only member in the chat right now, I'm going to post his thing there. Thanks, Jeremy, for being a member. Let's talk about who the other members are. And we're going to start with our most supportive member, which is our senior vice president. And his name is Soldier One. So we're going to start there. Soldier One, thank you for your support of Nerds for Humanity. Helps us pay for our streaming costs and podcast hosting fees. If you all want to help, just click the join link on YouTube, and starts at like $2 a month. Next level down is Kristen Slevin and Bike vice presidents. And then we go to our managers who are hardcore: Gene, David, DK, Jekalogo, Mr. History, Mona, Vaughn, Yang, Dean, Galessa, J. Parent, Dana, Jason, Daniel, Mickey, Yoda, Unkiyu. And then we have our verified: Lisa, Brandon, Sophia, Doris, Emerald, Ben, Shoni, Dr. William, Karen, Mai, Brittany, Lori, Wana, Kevin, Hope, T, Jeremy, David, Nicholas, Mike, Zig, Roberto, Jackson, Lantern, Cindy, and Alice. The other thing I wanted to do is there was someone. Oh, Galessa is in the house. Hey, Galessa, how are you? There was someone who did like a super comment or something. Let me find it. Oh yeah, here it is. Let me share my screen again. So, just want to give a little credit to the people who helped this thing. Marianne Herds gave a $10 super comment. Sorry, I missed this. Excited for the Marianne. If you're not here now, hopefully you'll see this on replay. Yes, Mr. History is saying that's great that even the members are like, hey, we don't need to make this member only. Oh wow, we got Mike. I think Mike is in. I think Mike might be in Europe. If he's saying good morning. So anyway, yeah, we'll do open chat tomorrow, and as long as we get 25 likes on this, like we'll do another one. Hopefully you found today's news stories interesting. With that, I'll say goodbye, nerds.